Hi, welcome to a wonderful world of testing. Go to page 181. I'm reading part 6. Remember the importance of the procedure for this one. Okay, this is the one where you have some missing sentences, and it's quite hard. Okay, because also if you make a mistake, normally that will mean making more mistakes because perhaps you write A in 37 and A is needed elsewhere. So that probably means that you've made 2 mistakes. Okay, so it gets complicated. So, an article about whales, how the blue whale became so big. That's all the information you need. Okay, you already know what the text is about. You start reading. When you get to the gaps, you predict the information after reading the sentences around the gap, and then you mark potential linking evidence. So this process. Okay, so this process means a process described before. Perhaps it's also here, but here and here. They must connect to someone before. This represents important progress or something that has happened. So what represents important progress? So one of these sentences will indicate some progress. Okay. Example goes on to 9a. So what does it refer to? Their huge size. So whose size? Okay. And this transition. Okay. So these are words, okay, that need to connect to something said before. These pronouns, linking devices, etc. Okay, so when you do it, you predict what's missing, you mark these words, and then you say, okay, so A, it is not accepted, it can also be used. So what does it refer to? They got no bigger, so they're talking about size. They refers to something said before, they, okay. This is because, or what does this refer to? Bar some contrast. These, so these refers to something plural. So because of the meaning, you try to fit it in the right gap, and then you'll have to make these connections. Okay, all these connections, so that you are more or less sure, certain that that's the correct answer. Okay, so go ahead, get it done. I'm going to give you the answers in 3, 2, 1. Okay, that's my signature. You can. So the first one is G, C, A, F, B, and E. Okay, now try to find the evidence. The evidence is to connect the ideas. Why is this G? Okay, what do you have in G that connects to the sentence, both the sentences before and after the gap? Little by little you'll get better. Some are harder than others, but the idea is that you understand the exercise, how it works, and you get better. Okay, so I'm going to start explaining the evidence. So first one, G says these acted. So these refers to the flushed nutrients. Okay, and fertilizer, blah blah. This process, so this process of the nutrients becoming fertilizer, change conditions. Okay, so you have a connection with the previous one, and then a connection with the following sentence. 38C. So more efficient, larger whales, more efficient. They were also better, so you have a comparative and you have a comparative. Okay, and also, so you are adding. So one advantage, another advantage. And this is also these supplies at the end of C. Okay, these supplies refers to dense patches of food. So patches of food, a patch is like, you can say a patch of ice, like a circle more or less with ice. So it's an area, concentrated area where you find something. It's not parche, but similar. So patches of food. So you have these supplies. 39A. Okay, so the skull width. Notice width is a good indicator. And it says it is now accepted that it. So it is the skull. It can also be used to determine changes in length over time. So this the fact that the skull can be used for this represents important progress. So we have this connected to this, and then the skull, which appears here when it is it. The skull can be used to determine changes. That's A. So normally you have at least 2 connections. 40 F. Okay, so perhaps that could explain how these wells became so massive. Contrast. But the researchers' analysis shows that this idea, so this idea is this. They just got gradually bigger. So this idea doesn't hold up. Hold up is can't accept it because it's not really true. Okay, so it doesn't hold up. When you really look into the idea, it doesn't hold up. It doesn't resist any analysis. And as later goes on to deny it, it refers to the idea. So again, you see connection with this, a connection with this. 41b, they got no bigger. So they is talking about the ancestors. Okay, the ancestors of today's filter feeding whales. So this, they got no bigger until the formation of the glaciers. So it's talking about 10 million years. So is this the glaciers, and they traveled in length. Now at the end of B, they traveled in length, so 3 times bigger. So they are huge size today results from this event. So they traveled, triplicaron su tamaño. To have the connection about size, they are huge size. Okay, in the whales. 42E. Okay, this. Okay, so the rate, no? The rate is the pace, el ritmo. Okay, so this is the $1 million question that we can't answer. This is, so we can't answer it because they haven't found any fossils. So we need to really refine. Okay, we need those. So those is the fossils. So that's what you need. How this transition occurred in the past 2 million years. Okay, so that's all dividends for this one. Thank you very much. Bye. Then you have some vocabulary. Like you have massive. Okay, these adjectives are in Eve. According to scientists, is a word that appears very often, and we don't normally remember. You talk about width. You had length. Okay, words that are relatively common. Accurate, precise. Yeah, that's it, more or less. Okay, notice the passive is very common, can also be used. The passive appears very often in your writing. And that's it. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, you can always ask. Bye.